Hello guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe on this Thursday. In today's episode, once again, speaking about Haaland and also Roman Abramovich's big decision to make this summer. More updates about Chelsea's pursuit and battle with PSG for Achraf Hakimi from Inter Milan. And a spread of other sort of Chelsea news, thinking about Olivier Giroud rumours linking him to AC Milan for Tomori's move nearly being done to Milan as well. And also Ruben Loftus-Cheek, a potential reunion with Maurzio Sarri and Lazio this summer. I also want to touch on a brilliant Jorginho interview from the Telegraph released today, and just think about Jorginho and the season he's had for Chelsea and sort of looking and appreciating his role under Thomas Tuchel. But before we get into any of that good stuff, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit the like button if you're enjoying the content, because it helps out the channel as well. Let's start off with the main man, Fabrizio Romano. It's that time of year, so we're going to be hearing a lot from Romano. He was tweeting mainly about Man United and Jadon Sancho, and that kind of impacts Chelsea in a way, because we did think that if Chelsea can't get a number 9, whether that be Haaland, whether that be Lukaku, of course Harry Kane continues to get linked to Chelsea, even though I think it's just impossible it's going to happen this summer. I don't buy it. I just don't think it's going to happen. I did talk about this last week on the channel of sort of, if you're going to buy a big attacker, Sancho would be sort of the other option there, but it does look like Man United will be signing Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund this summer, and that kind of once again impacts Chelsea and a potential business for Haaland. As Romano says here, Chelsea's strong interest in Haaland is confirmed, but Borussia Dortmund have no intention to sell Erling this summer, especially if Sancho leaves. Crazy bid is the only way. And Nazar Kinsella from Goal talks about this. He speaks about Haaland, but he also speaks about Achraf Hakimi. The Blues could pay up to more than £200 million for 2 players this summer as they aim to make a statement in the market. Kinsella goes on to say that any deal for Haaland would not only break Chelsea's club record and wage structure, but would also see Premier League records fall, with his agent Mino Raiola to earn a sizable agent's fee. It remains to be seen whether Chelsea will make a move now when there's less competition, or wait until the price drops in 2022 when a variable release clause based on performance is expected to see Haaland leave for a price nearer 70 million or 99 million euros. So focusing on Haaland and whether Abramovich will be pursuing him this summer, or at least can get the deal done. We think about Kai Havertz, that dragging on all of last summer, but this would be such a big move, such a monumental one. But I don't think we've heard the last of this, and I think that it may drag on, but Chelsea may be forced to wait to next summer. And then your sort of the big discussion point would be, what do Chelsea do in terms of a centre forward, in terms of potentially buying any more attackers? But Hakimi, of course, this has heated up in recent days, and Matt Law reporting yesterday that Inter Milan are under pressure to sell Chelsea target Achraf Hakimi. And Matt Law goes into sort of talking about Reece James a little bit, and how Tuchel is delighted with the progress of Reece, and a new right-sided player would not be coming in to replace the England international. A bit like Nazar Kinsella, he reports that it is unclear whether or not Chelsea would be prepared to involve themselves in an auction with PSG for Hakimi, something that director Marina Granovskaya has previously looked to avoid. Chelsea have not confirmed whether or not they have made an official bid, but it is understood PSG have offered 43 million up front with a guarantee of a further 8 million, with Inter hanging on for more. Inter will hope Chelsea's interest will help drive up Hakimi's price to nearer 70 million, and also accelerate talks aimed at completing a transfer by the 30th of June. And Jacob Steinberg and The Guardian reporting as well about Hakimi, Chelsea facing competition from PSG to sign Inter defender. But the big thing he brings up here, I spoke about Tino Livramento yesterday, and Chelsea's sort of a brilliant youth product, the potential to play at right wing and sort of progressing into the first team under Tuchel, and reporting on interest from other clubs to potentially sign Livramento from Chelsea this summer if Hakimi was to join. Livramento is another player who could see his path to the first team severely restricted if Chelsea sign Hakimi. Aston Villa are one of the clubs looking at the highly rated 18-year-old. Things are heating up with Hakimi. It seems like this is a massive target for Chelsea. It's a long-term target, as I spoke about yesterday. Liam Toomey confirmed that for The Athletic as well. I remember speaking about Hakimi last year when he was at Borussia Dortmund. I know there's been a lot of response to Hakimi, and it is quite conflicted, I think, from you guys, not only in the comments of yesterday's video, but also I think I put up a post on a poll as well. A lot of you guys feel conflicted. Some feel he's a world-class player that we can bring in, and if Tuchel wants him, why aren't you going to sign a brilliant player? But there is the other side to it, not only the knock-on effect of someone like Livramento, and as well, as I pointed out yesterday, do we really need to be prioritising a right-sided player when the key thing is signing a centre forward and also a central defensive midfielder? I will make this point, that, and I want to make this abundantly clear, as I said yesterday, and maybe it gets misconstrued, Hakimi would be a really, really good signing for Chelsea. All of the numbers, all of the stats, all of his performances for Inter and Borussia Dortmund indicate he's a really, really good player. People who watch him on a regular basis know he's a really good player, and I think it's really exciting to see with Tuchel now with a pre-season with someone like Hakimi. What is he going to do with the formation? You know, could we see Reece at right centre back? Could we see Reece in sort of midfield for Chelsea next season? Could that be sort of a unique solution? Hakimi not only as a right wing back, but maybe as a right winger, maybe pushing up a little bit more. So I think once again, just have to wait and see if this still happens. I do think there will be a knock-on effect. I am going to make videos and probably collab with people in the Chelsea community discussing Hakimi and sort of the impact of his arrival if it could happen. But the business is getting going pretty quickly with Chelsea. They're not messing around, and top quality signings. And I think that Hakimi, absolutely, whatever you think about the knock-on effect, whether it should be top priority, I think Hakimi would be a top quality signing, no doubt. And some other transfer news to pick up on today. AC Milan make offer for Olivier Giroud. This came from Matt Law, the same report that was talking about Hakimi. Inter's Milan rivals AC are preparing an offer of around $3 million for striker. Chelsea last week revealed Giroud's contract had been extended by 12 months, but he could still leave this summer with Milan, who will make Fikayo Tomori's loan move permanent, interested in signing him. There have been some reports just before I started recording coming out of Milan saying that a deal has been agreed. That hasn't been backed up at the time of recording from the likes of Matt Law and others too. But as I said last week, when Giroud signed that contract, there was still the possibility of us selling him this summer. It's not that much of a shock to me given his lack of playing time under Tuchel, given the fact we could be signing another attacker, and he's never really felt at home under Tuchel. He's never really been, even though he scored some big goals, you can pick out of course the Atletico Madrid bicycle kick, but that was a while ago, and really he's never looked that comfortable in Tuchel's system. So it's good business for Chelsea, you know, nailing him down for a contract and then getting a profit off of Giroud this summer when we may be struggling to sell other players. I think that's a big thing. And Fabrizio Romano, another tweet here, talks about the amount of money Chelsea will receive for Fikayo Tomori, 28.5 million for Tomori leaving the club on a permanent deal, and also talks about how AC Milan are negotiating with Giroud's agents. Lazio though are interested in Ruben Loftus-Cheek on loan. But I do want to pick up on this quick story because I'm a massive fan of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I followed his career, and it's exciting to see that he potentially go back with Sarri at Lazio, potentially on loan this summer. I think that would be a really exciting move, because the best period of Loftus-Cheek's career, in particular at Chelsea, was under Maurizio Sarri. You know, he was the first head coach to really put belief in Ruben at Chelsea. And in that 4-3-3 on the left, at the back end of that season, he was reaching new levels with Chelsea. He was reaching that potential that we all hoped that Ruben could get to. And then, of course, he had that terrible injury, and now he's been set back some way. So potentially that could be a really good move. Also, just exciting that he could be going abroad. But I don't know how true this is and how close this would be. But the idea of Sarri getting Loftus-Cheek back in his 4-3-3 for Lazio next season, I think would be an exciting move if Ruben cannot make it at Chelsea. Let me know your opinions on that potential move in the comments below. But finally, let's talk about Jorginho. He gave this brilliant interview to the Telegraph in preparation, of course, for the Euros. Italy's first game is on Friday night against Turkey. It's the opening game. And Jorginho is going to play a massive part for Italy in that midfield. And it talks about his career. It goes into basically his whole career, the struggles of his career. I think it's a really revealing interview because it speaks a lot about the struggles he faced earlier. I think it's lovely to see Jorginho getting the praise I think he rightfully deserves under Tuchel. The Champions League run is probably the best run of games in his Chelsea career, the knockout games. I think, especially from the Porto game onwards, the level he was reaching, the Champions League first and especially second leg, both him and Kante were extraordinary in that second game, the second leg at the Bridge, and then of course the Champions League final. Jorginho, I always bring up Jorginho, and I've been sympathetic towards him since he basically arrived under Sarri and the struggles he's had, and he has had struggles. You know, I think that there needs to be an acceptance that, you know, Jorginho is at times can be a very limited player in terms of what you get out of him. But if you can get the best out of him, as Tuchel has done, and put him in a system that suits him, he can be an excellent player in midfield for you. And I'm just so happy for Jorginho because seeing the emotion he showed not only at the end of the Real Madrid game, but of course lifting the European Cup, that's going to leave a legacy, a positive legacy at Chelsea whenever he leaves. You know, and I think that personally for me, his future is always in doubt because his agent doesn't stop talking. It's like every other week we hear something new from his agent in terms of potential return to Italy. Of course, Sarri's now at Lazio, so potentially something could happen. And there's always these rumours that he could potentially be leaving. But I think that the way Tuchel has trusted him, I think you can expect at the moment, I think that Jorginho will be at Chelsea next year. I think will be a key player, a squad player as well, and probably a starter, given how much he's given to Tuchel. I think a lot depends on who comes into midfield and who goes out. I think if we were to sign a massive defensive midfielder this summer, maybe that could change given the age of Jorginho. But don't get my words twisted. I think he's been brilliant. I think that he has performed at such a level that I don't think many people would have expected he could have got to at Chelsea, and to win that European Cup is just justification for all of that hard work he's put in, for the down days, for the doubts. I think that for him, he'll just, whatever happens in his Chelsea career now, he'll always have that night in Porto, and yeah, I think he deserves credit. So please go and read this. If you're a big Jorginho fan, I definitely suggest go and read this because it tells so much about his career. Some really good quotes surrounding everything, not only in terms of Chelsea, but give me your opinions on Jorginho and his Chelsea career in the comments below. But that is it for this edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch it. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter at SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.